Daniel Rhodes was a man whose name commanded boardrooms and echoed across international news channels. At just 39, he had built a tech empire from scratch after losing his wife during childbirth. But for all the success he had earned, his heart remained guarded, his life a balancing act between the cold logic of business and the warm chaos of raising his 5-year-old daughter, Emma. He had hired 15 of the best engineers in the industry, graduates from MIT, Stanford, Caltech. Men and women who had designed satellites and military-grade encryption. Their mission? To fix the security system of the company's latest AI prototype, Alex, an invention that could change the world. But there was a glitch, an elusive security flaw that kept the system vulnerable. And every single engineer had failed to patch it. Millions were on the line, and the board was pressuring Daniel for answers. At home, however, things were simpler. Or at least, they had become simpler since Ava joined as Emma's nanny. She was young, bright-eyed, and always humming some Disney tune under her breath. Emma adored her. Ava had an unusual calm, a patience that even Daniel found himself drawn to, though he kept a professional distance. One rainy evening, Daniel sat at the dining table buried in blueprints, his frustration bubbling. Emma, unable to sleep, came downstairs clutching her stuffed bunny. Ava followed behind quietly, and when she saw Daniel's expression, she gently nudged Emma toward him. "Go show Daddy how you draw hearts," she said softly. Emma giggled and began scribbling on a spare paper beside Daniel, while Ava glanced at the screen on his laptop. Daniel noticed her gaze and half smiled. Just a little glitch no one can fix. Nothing important. But Ava, curious, tilted her head. "May I?" Daniel raised an eyebrow. "This isn't child's play." She smiled. "I know. But I majored in computer science before I left school." Something about her tone, gentle but confident, made Daniel turn the screen toward her. "Be my guest." Ava sat beside him, studied the code for all of 10 seconds, then opened a terminal and typed a few commands. Within 30 seconds, the security breach vanished. Daniel stared, stunned. "No way," he whispered. Ava shrugged. It was recursive. The system was looping a false key pattern. Your engineers were trying to force a rewrite when all it needed was a soft bypass. Then the lock resets itself. Silence. For once, the CEO had no words. Not even when Emma clapped and said, "Ava's a superhero." Daniel looked at Ava like he was seeing her for the first time. Not just a nanny, not just the girl who made pancakes and sang lullabies, but a mind sharper than the engineers he paid 6 figures to employ. The next day, he called an emergency meeting with Ava, and the boardroom would never be the same again. Daniel had always been a man who trusted resumes and references. Everything in his world had to be calculated, success backed by numbers, hires approved by HR, meetings based on KPIs. But after that night, something shifted. Ava's 30-second fix didn't just solve a $1 million flaw, it rewrote something inside Daniel. He called an emergency board meeting at Rhodes Technologies, and for the first time in the company's history, someone without a title, degree, or job description in the corporate chain was seated at the center of the table. Ava wore a simple dress, her hands slightly trembling under the long oak conference table. Across from her sat men in tailored suits, women in sharp heels, and eyes full of suspicion. "Who is she?" someone whispered. "She's the nanny," another scoffed. "Is this a joke?" Daniel silenced them with a single glance. "This is Ava Carter," he began, his voice calm but commanding. "Yesterday, she fixed the critical flaw in Alex, the same flaw 15 engineers failed to solve." The room fell into a stunned hush. "She's not here for decoration," he added. "She's here because she saw what we all missed. That deserves more than applause. It deserves respect." Ava looked around nervously, then spoke. "I wasn't trying to show anyone up. I just love puzzles. And I hate when systems loop unnecessarily. I only wanted to help." Her humility made more impact than her code. After that day, Daniel did something no one expected. He offered her a position. Not just a tech role, but lead systems consultant on ALIX's next phase. She hesitated. "I never finished my degree. I don't have credentials." Daniel smiled. "You have results. I'll take that over a diploma any day." Still, Ava was unsure. Her life had always been quiet. Simple. Nannying Emma brought her joy. She didn't want to lose that. Daniel, ever perceptive, offered a solution. "You can still be Emma's nanny, and you can work part-time on Alex remotely. No office politics, just code." Ava agreed, with tears in her eyes. For the first time, Someone saw her not for what she was supposed to be, but for what she could be. Weeks passed. Ava's suggestions streamlined Alix's neural mapping beyond what the internal team imagined possible. Emma, ever attached, beamed with pride every time her, Ava, was mentioned in meetings or presentations. But what surprised Daniel most wasn't Ava's brilliance, it was how her presence began healing something deeper. He'd long buried his heart under work and grief. Yet, every time Ava laughed with Emma, every time she offered Daniel a cup of tea late at night when he sat working too long, something softened. One evening, after a particularly long day at the office, Daniel came home exhausted. Emma was asleep on the couch, a picture of Ava, Emma, and himself clutched in her hand. Daniel picked it up gently and smiled. Ava entered the room, wiping her hands on a dish towel. She insisted on printing that today, Ava said with a chuckle. Said it was our family photo. The word hit Daniel like a soft gust of wind, unexpected but not unwelcome. She's not wrong, he replied quietly. Their eyes met, and for the first time, Daniel stepped out of his controlled world and let his heart speak. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't come into our lives. Ava's voice trembled. You saved mine too, in ways you don't even know. They stood in silence, the hum of the night wrapping around them like a gentle promise. 6 months later, Alex launched successfully. Media outlets hailed it as a breakthrough. Investors poured in, but when asked who was behind the system's final transformation, Daniel shocked the press by answering truthfully. It was my daughter's nanny. The smartest person I've ever worked with. He never cared what the world thought. He was done living by the rules that told him what love or leadership was supposed to look like. At the next shareholder gala, Daniel arrived not with a corporate executive, but with Ava, smiling shyly by his side, Emma clutching both their hands. No one dared to whisper now. They saw the truth. This wasn't just a story about fixing code. It was about fixing hearts. Clapperboard ending hook for video outro. Sometimes the answers we're searching for don't come from experts with titles, but from those quietly watching, quietly caring, ready to surprise the world. If Ava's story touched your heart, please like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more real, emotional stories that remind us, greatness often hides in unexpected places. Heart.